Hey, it's Adrian, and today I want to share my experience using the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra for about 2 months. So in my first video, I highly recommended the phone. Now that I've used it for 2 months, I just want to go over all the important parts of the phone and see if that still holds true. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is battery life. So from what I've seen online, some people they're not impressed with the battery life at all, and some are fine with the battery life. They have no major complaints. And I fall into the group that has no major complaints. Now, I want to say I'm probably not a typical user because I work from home and my phone is near my computer when I'm working. And I do have a wireless charging dock and I just set the phone on there and it slowly trickle charges it throughout the day. So I'm rarely, left with a low battery while at home. Now there are days when I'm not working from home and I'm out most of the day. So if I leave the house with a full battery, these are the settings I have on my phone. So I have the screen brightness set to 70 to 80%. I have Bluetooth running 24/7 to sync with my smartwatch. I turn my data on and Wi-Fi off, and I have the variable refresh rate on and the phone at the max resolution. And if I'm out the majority of the day and I'm coming home kind of late at night, I'm still ending at around 20 to 30%. So overall, in terms of battery life, I'm pretty happy. For those of you who have no option and you need to be out and about and on the go, I completely understand that too. So in that type of use case, I can see where you may be disappointed by the battery life. But what I'd like to say is this: it's a phone with a really large screen. And anytime you have a really large screen, that's going to be the largest drain of battery life because the battery has to output power to display that screen, to give you the max brightness, the refresh rate, all the good stuff that you want. But again, of course, it comes with a price. So I would say, if you're going to be out and about, you have a couple options. You can change some settings on the phone to prolong battery life, like lowering the resolution, capping the refresh rate, dimming the brightness a bit. But if you want that max performance while you're on the go, then you may have to carry your power cable, and whenever you're at an outlet, just plug it in. It probably just takes a few minutes to maybe 10-15 minutes, because it does have fast charging to get you a decent amount of battery life back. The other thing you might want to consider is getting a power bank. They're not too expensive, and I know it's something extra that you have to carry, but if you want just the best experience visually and performance wise, you may have to look at those options if you're not willing to consider changing some settings. Now, everyone really raves about the display on this phone, and they're quite justified in that. Whenever I'm using the screen, navigating between apps, watching videos, playing games, like, it's a fast, fluid experience, smooth transitions, there's no glitches or anything like that. Now, I usually use my screen at around 70 to 80%, and that's plenty bright for me when I'm out in the sunlight. Again, no issues there. I can crank it all the way to 100, and there's an extra setting in the menu to boost or enable maximum brightness. And at night, if you want it really dim, what you can do is you can crank it all the way to the lowest brightness. You also have additional options to turn on an extra dim setting to make it even less bright. And you have an eye comfort shield mode that shifts the colors towards warm, so you're not looking at blue light before going to bed. I almost forgot. One of the things I love the most about the screen is when the screen is turned off, and that's the always on display screen. So I'm coming from a phone that didn't have that. Now that I have it, I love having it, and it's hard to consider a phone that won't have it in the future, because just at a glance I can see the time notifications from specific apps, and that's much better than my other phone that just had a flashing LED light, because I would be driving, I would see the LED light and I would have no clue, is this urgent or not. With this, I can see if it's a text, a phone call, or anything like that, and I can determine if I need to handle it. In terms of the general use of the phone, so opening apps, navigating around, switching apps, closing apps, playing games, it's just been a wonderful experience for me. I haven't noticed any glitches. The phone hasn't, suddenly restart or crashed or anything like that where I needed to force a reboot like with my older, more aging phone. So overall, fast, fluid experience. Now, I keep the variable refresh rate on, and maybe it's just me and I don't notice it, but whenever I'm going from like a static page, like say a menu setting, to watching video, I haven't noticed a transition between like a lower refresh rate to a higher refresh rate. It's a pretty fluid, seamless experience for me. In terms of camera performance, I haven't traditionally cared that much about camera and video performance on phones. Whenever manufacturers boast about that, I'm really more interested in like RAM, processor speed, the pixel density of the screen, you know, the Bluetooth version, all that other type of stuff. But it has changed now that I've gotten this phone. So the camera lens setup, I think it's a great lens setup and it'll cover you for most occasions. So versus using the camera to take photos at 1x, I find myself, you know, a majority of the times I use the ultra wide lens on here, the 0.6. And, you know, if I do occasionally need to go to 3x or 10x optically, I can do that. And then you have the digital zoom at 30x, wouldn't go past it there. Even at 30x, I don't really use it. But the ultra wide option, just this lens configuration, really makes this phone worth it for a lot of use cases. So I'll use the camera to, you know, take photos, to document stuff, for photos of restaurants, for reviews, even for YouTube thumbnails for my website. Like it's a really great camera setup you have on this phone. In terms of vibration, so I know this is another area where people are divided. I'm happy with it, but again, I'm not coming from a Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, so I can't compare. But I'm happy with the S22 Ultra's performance in terms of vibration. And if you go into the settings, the sounds and notifications, you can change the vibration pattern and you can change the vibration intensity, and you can do that independently both for ringtones and alerts. And I think even on my menus, I probably have the vibration strength at between 60 to 70% because that's adequate for me. But let me do a demo and you can see all the options that you have. So here's a quick demo of how you can change the vibration settings. You could go into sounds and vibrations and scroll down to call vibration pattern. And right now mine is set to fireworks, but I'm going to cycle through and you can hear the difference in the pulses or patterns. So you can hear there's a lot of different options, and I find that certain vibration patterns or pulses, you'll feel it better in your pocket. I like having it on fireworks. Now if I go into notification vibration pattern, I can set these again independently of what I get for a call. So right away I can tell from the vibration pattern which is a call, which is a notification. Also, I can go into vibration intensity. Both the vibrations for incoming calls and notifications, it's cranked to the max for this demo, but normally I have both of them around here, and that's enough for me to feel it in my pocket or on a desk. While I've had the phone, there's been a couple updates from Samsung and I've installed all of those updates. And I know one of those updates was to address the issue of the game optimization service that Samsung was getting into trouble over. And since I've installed it, I haven't noticed any issues with any of the apps that I'm using regularly or gaming. So it's been a pretty straightforward experience for me. Now, one thing that I'm not sure if it was there before the update or not is when you go into the battery settings and the advanced battery settings, there's an option on there to set how the CPU works on the phone. So you can set it to optimize. Actually, it's set to optimize by default, so it's going to balance performance and battery life. But there's also an option for, I believe, full performance or maximum performance. And, you know, if you're going to be doing something really intensive like gaming or doing some type of rendering or anything like that, you can go in there and temporarily set it so that you get the maximum performance out of the CPU and then switch it back to optimize. So I don't know if that takes place kind of automatically in certain apps, but that option is there if you want manual control. So considering all those points, I still highly recommend this phone. And I'm coming from an older device, so there may be a bit of a honeymoon period for me still because the performance, display, everything is just so much better. However, in the 2 months that I've had it, I haven't seen any red flags that would prevent me from recommending this to someone who's really interested in it. While this is an expensive phone upfront, if you consider that you're gonna get 4 years of Android updates and 5 years of, you know, updates from Samsung in terms of security, software updates, it's a much more manageable price when you can spread it over 4 or 5 years. If you're still here, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps me out. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.